Hey everyone, Jake here from Made for the Range. Welcome back to the Made for the Range YouTube channel. Today, we're gonna be testing out some Graphite Design driver shafts. They were kind enough to send me out 4 different models. I've got the XC, the VF, the new GC, and the traditional and kind of historic DI from Graphite Design. Can't wait to jump in the bay and get these sorted out. I'm here at Sub70's fitting headquarters in Sycamore, Illinois. We're actually gonna be using the brand new Sub70 859 Pro driver. I've got it in 9 degrees. Everything's gonna be set to standard. All the shafts are playing at 45 inches with the same grip, the same tape. Everything was built the exact same, so we don't have to be worried about inconsistencies between the shafts. With that being said, let's jump right into it. And then at the end, we'll jump into the data and compare kind of how I felt as I was swinging the golf shafts, who I think that they're probably for, and then we'll talk about some of those data points as well. All right, so diving into the data here really quickly with Foresight GC3, I want to compare each of these golf shafts and talk to you guys about how it felt for me actually swinging, and then who I think these are kind of for, and then looking at the data just in terms of my swing. Remember, this data only applies to me and my swing, and I'm going to give you the best guess and the best opportunity to hopefully lead you guys down the right path so that you know which one of these Graphite Design shafts might fit your game more specifically. So let's start off with the XC, and the XC is a funny one because in this test, the XC did not do very well for me. The dispersion was kind of off the charts with that one. I couldn't seem to find the center, and it's really funny because anytime I've ever been fit with Graphite Design products, it was always into the XC. I haven't even hit the GC or the DI in a driver in how many years until today when they sent these out for me. But with the swing changes that I've made over the past year and trying to be a little bit more deliberate in my swing, it's funny because the XC is no longer my fit. That soft handle is doing me no good here. And that's kind of how the XC is designed. It's a very, very soft handle that can be loaded really hard from the top, and then a stable midsection and a stable tip section to kind of keep that impact stable. As we move into the DI, I don't want to say that it's the opposite, but the DI is definitely going to be a higher launching profile. There's a little bit more torque in that golf shaft, and I think that it's really, really good. Like I talked about when I did the hybrid video on Instagram, the DI is a really good shaft for people that need a little bit more forgiveness out of the shaft. And you notice the big jump here comparing all 4 of these is the spin number with that DI. And that's because the stable tip of a very soft midsection and a softish handle helps you to kind of kick at impact. And as you kick at impact, you're going to launch the ball, but you're also going to lower the spin because the club head is coming up through impact, which helps a lot of golfers. Remember, when we lower spin, as long as it doesn't get too low, we're straightening out ball flight, and it will help our launch conditions, especially if we can get that spin down as the launch comes up. As we move into the next 2, we've got the VF, which is the one that gained a little bit of popularity with Tiger and JT playing it. The VF, to me, that is the aggressive monster of the Graphite Design lineup. For me, in my game, it's a very, very, very hard shaft to load. You'll notice that I wasn't even launching it above 10. I think I got saved because there was one in there that was launching around like 12. So the average is even a little bit high for what it should be. But you'll notice that the spin numbers with that one are really, really high, which is a little bit contradictory to what the shaft profile would say, right? It's supposed to be low launch, low spin, but for me, it's low launch and coming out of the bottom of the face just because of how that profile is activating. And that profile to me has always been like a super XC on steroids. So The handle is soft comparatively to the rest of the shaft, and then it moves into a stronger midsection and a very, very strong tip section. So it's very hard to load. And you'll notice if we actually go into that data for the VF, there was a couple swings here where I did a really good job getting the club head through. So yeah, we can go to this one right here at 100, almost 160 miles an hour ball speed. And you can see that this one carried to 273 and got out to 299. And that's because on that swing, which I'll show a replay of here, I really paid attention to trying to load the heck out of that golf shaft. And you can see that in these last three here, launching at about 11, but again, still maintaining a relatively high spin profile. And you can see here that there's a couple that fell out of the sky just because I wasn't able to launch the ball. And that's what's gonna hurt the overall kind of club dynamics. So again, this is my swing and this is the testing that I did today, but if you're a player who's super, super aggressive and you like to just go after every tee shot as hard as you can, you know, thinking like Cam Youngish or Rory McIlroy-ish, where it's just a very aggressive takeaway and a very aggressive transition through a really, really speedy impact zone, the VF would be an amazing choice for you. And with that swing and the appropriate player playing it, it will help you kind of lower that spin profile if you have a problem with spin, as well as keeping that launch angle at a relatively good angle, just so that your swing can control that golf shaft. And then finally, the GC, which is the latest iteration to the Graphite Design lineup, is a new shaft for 2025. And this one really, really impressed me. What was cool about this one is I felt like it was sort of a modified DI, like almost a beefed up DI in a way where you can feel that the tip is a little bit more responsive, but the handle and the midsection is a little bit more stable than some of the other profiles, especially compared to the DI. And what that allows you to do is be pretty aggressive from the top, but it connects the transition and impact really, really well, and then gives you a nice little kick at impact for just a little bit more help and a little bit more ball speed generation. You can see that our average here on the GC was the highest one we had at a little over 158 miles an hour, coming out with a really, really consistent launch angle at around 11.5. You can see the deviation there is only about a degree. And then this one surprised me a lot with a little bit more of a moderate spin angle or spin backspin, but to me, that's okay because I can always play with this head a little bit. Again, I'm not doing anything to this head. I'm playing this head at standard. It's just a Sub70 859 Pro 9-degree head. So at 11.5, 26, I'm totally happy with that. The deviation here in carry was also really, really good. And this one that had the best dispersion as well. So if I get rid of the others here, you can see the dispersion on this one was fantastic and everything was moving left of the target line. So I knew for sure with this one exactly what my miss would be. And then because it was coming out at a really good launch trajectory and a very consistent spin window, I also felt a lot of confidence in this golf shaft. And I think that's why we saw a little bit more ball speed, because I was inherently feeling that I could swing it with my normal swing at my normal tempo, with my normal aggressiveness through impact, and the club was gonna do the work for me, which is exactly how the GC feels. So if you're somebody that has more of a deliberate tempo, but still at a faster pace and just a little bit more aggressive than your traditional tempo town standard, I think the GC is really, really an amazing option for you. There's a lot of stability built into the hands and the midsection to connect that deliberate transition with a more aggressive impact. So really, really cool stuff here for 2025. Can't wait to do some more testing with this. But for now, that's a comparison of these 4 Graphite Design profiles. Thank you to the team over at Pros Choice for sending these out for us, and for Sub70 for allowing me to come in and use their heads to help demonstrate these shafts for you guys.